الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله
Come, Ismail, come. Ikram Sheikh welcomes you to Bangladesh. Have a seat. Tell me, what is the news from Navadip?
Huzur, I have struck gold.
Gold?
Yes, yes. The deities of ISKCON Mayapur Mandir are of real solid gold.
What are you saying, Ismail? Are you sure?
Yes, Huzur, I am dead sure. In fact, just before coming here, I have even confirmed the news with an astrologer.
Is that so? Then I just need 35 people. Yes. I just need 30 to 35 people. Aslam, Yusuf, gather all our men. Take all our weapons. Swords, spears, choppers, guns and bombs. What help can we get from the Hindus, Narayan?
Help? My committed, strong, well-built men are ready to lay down their lives for you, my Sarkar. This time we have a well-planned strategy.
Yes, Huzur. This time, we'll study each and every corner of the temple. The gates, the halls, the rooms, the altar. Nothing will be spared. We shall make those Videshis bite the dust.
Yes. 24th March, 1 a.m. We shall strike. We shall strike with all our power and might. This time, I want to taste success. This time, no one defeats Ikram Sheikh. No one defeats Ikram Sheikh.
Abbas, are you ready?
Yes, I am. Everyone, hold your weapons. Keep your guns and swords intact. This is our golden chance. Abbas, you go from the west. Iqbal, take the south. While me and Jamal will take the east.
Yes, Shankar. But before you get down, don't forget to indicate to Ikram Sheikh.
Now is the right time. The tiger is asleep. Take the bait. Shh. Mind your weapons. He's heard it. The deities of ISKCON Mayapur. Fire! Jai Srila Prabhupada!
Sarkar! Throw the bomb!
Bhakti Raghav Swami! Ekadashi Prabhu! Somebody please go call the ambulance!
March 1984 formed a deep wound on the body of ISKCON. Their headquarters at Mayapur was attacked. This attack left the devotees injured, not only physically but also emotionally. They had just managed to rescue the deity of Srila Prabhupada, but they had lost Srimati Radharani. There was an undercurrent of insecurity in the community. This time, the leaders had to take a serious stand.
Bhavanand Prabhu, we have had enough. This time, those rogues have crossed the limit. They dared to steal Srimati Radharani and Srila Prabhupada.
Not only that, because of those rascals, Bhakti Raghav Swami has lost his leg, and Ekadashi Prabhu has suffered severe injuries.
And so many other devotees have also suffered. This incident has terrorized our entire community.
We need to take some strict action. Why not complain to the police?
Police? What will they do? We had such incidents even in the past. We filed so many complaints. But what happened? No action was taken. What do you feel, Bhavanand Prabhu?
Mahajano yena gathastapantha. Let us follow in the footsteps of the Acharyas.
In the footsteps of the Acharyas?
Yes, when similar attacks by dacoits had threatened devotees at the Yogapeeth, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur and his son Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur had promptly installed the deities of Sri Sri Lakshmi Narsimhadev. And do you know what? After this, there were no further disturbances.
But Bhavanand Prabhu, this is easier said than done. The pujari must be a Naistik brahmachari, and the worship of Lord Narsimhadev must be very strict and regulated. Who would be prepared to worship him?
If we have a strong desire, the Lord will certainly help us. Bhakti Siddhanta Prabhu, Atma Tattva Prabhu, why don't you prepare some sketches? I have a certain form in my mind. The deity's legs should be bent, ready to jump. He should be looking around ferociously. His fingers should be curled, and flames should be coming out from his head.
All right, Prabhu, we will make the sketch accordingly. But the question remains the same. Who will be ready to worship Lord Narsimhadev?
I, Pankajangri Das, shall worship Lord Narsimhadev. The devotees of the Lord do not depend on any material weapon or strength for their protection, but they completely take shelter of the Lord, who incarnates in various forms. Therefore, the devotees at Mayapur sought shelter at the lotus feet of Lord Narsimhadev. Atma Tattva Prabhu was made in charge for bringing this most ferocious form of the Lord to Mayapur. He immediately left for South India, a land of rich devotional culture and celestial architecture. After a long and tiresome journey, by Krishna's grace, he soon found a renowned Sthapati. A Sthapati not only sculpts deities but is also an expert in temple architecture and engineering.
Hare Krishna. My name is Atma Tattva Das. I am from ISKCON and I have come here from Navdweep. I have heard you are one of the most famous Sthapatis of South India.
No. That is all Lord Ranganath's mercy. Come, please come. Have a seat. Your Ramalingam, coconut water kondiva. Yes, tell me, what can I do for you?
Actually, we wanted you to carve a deity for us.
Is it? What deity?
Well, the deity of Ugra Narsimha.
Ugra Narsimha? Your Paidyam? Did you say Ugra Narsimha? No. That is not possible.
But why?
No. Once I said it's not possible, means it's not possible. I will not carve this deity.
But Sthapatiji, please.
No. I am sorry. You can find someone else.
Atma Tattva Prabhu approached many deity sculptors. The answer was always the same: no. He made a number of trips between Mayapur and South India. 6 months had passed, but there was no fruitful result. Atma Tattva Prabhu was determined. He decided to once again visit the original Sthapati.
Sthapatiji, I would request you again. Please consider our case.
Okay, Atma Tattvaji. First let me read to you a chapter from this Shilpa Shastra that deals with different forms of deities. Come, sit. Here is the description of Lord Narsimhadev. He has flame-like mane, a searching glance, and his knees are bent with 1 foot forward, ready to jump from the pillar.
I am amazed. This is exactly what we wanted. Sthapatiji, please look at the sketch.
I am impressed. I shall draw an outline based on the scriptural description, which can be used as a guide for sculpting the deity. But let me remind you, I shall not carve the deity.
It took the Sthapati a week to complete the sketch, and it was very impressive. Atma Tattva Prabhu returned to Mayapur and showed the sketch to the temple authorities. Meanwhile, the Sthapati approached his guru, the Shankaracharya of Kanchipuram.
Gurudev.
Come, come, my dear son. Tell me, how did you remember me?
Gurudev, I am in a big dilemma.
And what is that?
Gurudev, a person approached me wanting me to carve a special deity.
Which is that deity which has put a Sthapati like you in dilemma, my son?
Gurudev, the deity of Ugra Narsimha.
What? Ugra Narsimha? Don't do it. Your entire family will be destroyed. By the way, who has asked you to carve this deity?
The Hare Krishna devotees from Navadvipa.
I see. They want Ugra Narsimha? Are they aware of the implications of sculpting and installing Ugra Narsimha? Such deities were carved over 3000 years ago by very elevated Sthapatis. There is a place on the way to Mysore where a very ferocious Ugra Narsimha is installed. The demon Hiranyakashipu is torn open on his lap, and his intestines are spilling out all over the altar. Once, the standard of worship used to be very high. There was an elephant procession and a festival every day. But gradually, the worship declined. Today that place is like a ghost town. The whole village is deserted. No one can live there peacefully. Is that what they want for their project?
Gurudev, they are insistent. They are constantly coming to talk to me about the deity. Apparently, they have some problem with the dacoits. Gurudev, this is the deity that they want.
This is an Ugra category. But a deity in this particular mood is called Sthanu Narsimha. He doesn't exist on this planet. Even the demigods in heavenly planets don't worship a form like this. Yes, this deity belongs to Ugra category. Ugra means ferocious, very angry. There are 9 forms within this category. They are all very fierce. The one they want is Sthanu Narsimha, stepping out of the pillar. No, don't carve this deity. It will not be auspicious for you. I will talk with you about this later.
After this, the Sthapati went back home. A few nights later, the Sthapati had a wonderful dream.
My dear son, please listen to me very carefully. Every holy place has a predominating deity whose mood is accepted by all the other deities installed in that dham. The predominating deity of Navadvip is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is very merciful, and hence every deity in Mayapur will adopt that same merciful mood. Hence for them you can carve Sthanu Narsimha. My dear son, please go ahead.
Oh, was that a dream? Or was it the instruction of my guru?
Dear sir, I have a letter for you.
For me? Where is it from? Oh, it is from Kanchipuram. My Gurudev's letter. I don't believe this. It was my Gurudev's instruction. Here he writes, for ISKCON, you can carve Sthanu Narsimha.
Unaware of what had just transpired between the Sthapati and his guru, all the devotees in Mayapur wanted this same Sthapati to carve the deity. For the third time, Atma Tattva Prabhu was sent back to South India to try to convince him again.
Come, Atma Tattva ji. So you are back.
Yes, sir. I am back, and I am back with the same request. Please, sir, please be merciful and carve the deity for us.
Of course, I will carve the deity for you.
You will? I mean that is great. But sir, please can I ask you the reason for this sudden change in your decision?
The reason?
Then the Sthapati described to Atma Tattva Prabhu about his transactions with his guru, about his warning, about his dream, and finally about the